Now the effect of this is it slows down aging. No wonder the movie stars pay $1,000 a week for those calf muscles. They're constantly working, so your second heart is getting those blood back.
There's no need to lie about your age anymore. Don't do it.
They're both everyday things that age your skin. We're taking action for your health tonight with the 10 ways you may be aging your skin.
And so sometimes the secret to youth is to avoid the things that do age us, except for this, guys. These are tough.
Half my patients love me for it and half my patients hate me for it, but it's about running.
Working out is important, but are you doing it correctly? This raises a crucial question. What is the worst that could happen if you don't exercise properly? The good news is that there is a correct way to approach workouts, and you're in the right place to learn. However, if you don't exercise correctly, there are some serious consequences. For example, your lungs could weaken over time, leading to breathing difficulties and other lung-related problems. Additionally, improper exercise habits can accelerate the aging process, making you age faster than you should.
You'll want to make sure you're not doing anything in your daily life to let premature aging continue.
The fountain of youth, does it exist? If so, where can I find it?
In the Framingham Heart Study, I've quoted this study a couple of times, 30,000 people, little town over many years. They found that by the age of 50, 40% or most people had lost 40% of their lung capacity. Why is that?
To maintain our best health and fitness, a lot of us exercise these days. But guess what? For some reason, this is the unsettling cause of how considerably older we look. It's apparent that we're not doing it right. As we've always said, there is a protocol for exercising, just as there is a plan and procedure for your diet. And you may not even need to spend more than 15 minutes per day, every day. Simply put, there is always a planned way to do things in life.
Those lungs are just stretched wide open. Those little bronchioles right at the end are being forced to start working. High chest breathers can find that the bottom half of their lungs can almost go into dormancy.
Little talk by saying, have you ever seen a long distance, long time runner that didn't have a gaunt old face?
Exercise is crucial and plays a major role in keeping a youthful, active lifestyle to a significant extent as we age. But it's also much more productive when done in the right way. Dr. Barbara O'Neill has the perfect approach today, and she is obviously right. She always seems to know everything there is to know about naturally taking care of ourselves. To stay young, feel stronger, and maintain your pace, your body must be pushed. But you also need time to heal. A vital component of training is rest. It enables your body to recover in time for your subsequent workout. Insufficient rest practice can lead to health issues and subpar performance. Long-term excessive exertion can have negative effects. You can develop a predisposition to conditions like depression, recurrent colds, persistent weight loss, and apparently accelerated aging. You must be surprised.
That's what happens. In addition to the gaunt old face, your knees go, your ankles go, your back goes, and it's kind of dumb.
So when you look at working out, it's a stressor, right? You're putting stress on your body physically. Well, it's no different in a lot of ways than emotional stress, the kind of stress that you may have when you're, say, stressed out at work, or you're financially struggling, or you're having family issues. All those things trigger the same kind of stress response when it comes from a hormone standpoint. So when you're looking at physical training combined with emotional stress, you can have a whirlwind of hormonal issues.
The fact that a number of medical professionals who are particularly interested in fitness have publicly suggested moderate intensity exercise most days of the week, or perhaps just one or two extremely intense ones for people who require it specifically for their line of work, such as weightlifters, boxers, or wrestlers, may be compelling enough. It may surprise you to learn that you can exercise too much. There's no disputing that most athletes who overwork appear much older than their actual age, especially if you're not deceived by headlines or euphoria. What, though, is the ideal workout regimen?
Motivation can decrease, mood suddenly worsen, and sleep problems appear.
So whether you're 8 or 80, you can have a strong, fit body.
It would be interesting to know which of these two you chose. In an apartment where there is no water available from your taps or water system, And you most likely have large drums where you could store water until the water problems are resolved. Would you rather keep getting water just enough to serve you for the day with smaller buckets, or fill the drums in one day and rest for at least a week without having to step outside to get water?
We need to be preparing for our latter years, and one of the probably most effective ways to do that is to keep the body strong, fit.
Everyone makes their own decisions based on their current preferences and way of living. But here's the thing, the person who stresses and fills their drum in a single day has accomplished the same amount of work as the other person.
What is the best form of exercise? A lot of people say to me, I don't exercise because I just don't have time. So I'm going to show you a form of exercise today that only takes 15 minutes a day.
Okay, so would you like to know the exercise that can boost human growth hormone?
And his or her rest period will likely even make their exercise more fruitful than the other person who prefers division. Okay, let's get right to the point. It is nothing but the highly lauded high-intensity interval training. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is characterized by brief but intense work bursts that typically last between 15 seconds and 10 minutes. After that, there's a short recuperation period before getting back to work. These cycles are repeated multiple times, with a potential change in exercises for each round. Have you heard anything about this before? Regardless of how much or how little you exercise, this may hold the key to maximizing your health benefits. So I think we could all stand to pay a little more attention to it.
In our mid-60s, we really begin to lose muscle mass. Do not neglect muscle mass, and especially focus on the large muscle groups, the thighs, the hamstrings, the hips, the back, the calves. These muscle groups are the groups that tend to lose mass. They lose capillary interface between the cardiovascular system and the muscle system, and that causes death because that is our major bypass for ailing insulin receptors. High-intensity interval work is the number one way to improve that microvasculature of the large muscle groups that we're talking about.
In case you're confused, this should help to clear things up. What follows from Dr. Barbara will undoubtedly change the game, because while we've seen a lot already, there's more to learn about this HIIT exercise pattern and why it's essential to finding the fountain of youth we've always sought.
What I use is something called high-intensity training. This is not new. This has been around since the 70s, if you're familiar with Nautilus's equipment, right? Arthur Jones developed this equipment around a set of principles called high-intensity training principles. So what he found over the past 50 years of training, that what the muscle responds best to is just huge intensity of effort.
What precisely about this, then, is bringing about the change needed to keep us robust and beaming younger? Some of this dates back to the early 1900s. Finnish athlete Paavo Nurmi used interval training to prepare for the 1925 Olympic Games, where he won multiple gold medals. As Dr. O'Neill mentioned, it has also been linked to Germany prior to WWE.
But what is the best form of exercise? A lot of people say to me, I don't exercise because I just don't have time. So I'm going to show you a form of exercise today that only takes 15 minutes a day. There are many stories of people having heart attacks on 5K jogs. See, when they're on 5K jogs, their body's not getting that rest. And that rest is vital.
Given its centrality to optimal fitness, it's crucial to do it in a manner that allows one to achieve their full potential without putting undue strain on their body. Thankfully, Dr. O'Neill's advice may help us accomplish this without causing us undue stress.
Once you start walking, your eyes soon adjust because it's a hassle taking a torch. I'd leave home and it was cold and dark. I'd have a scarf on, I'd have a hat on, I'd have gloves on, and when I'm coming back, this is after half an hour.
It is undoubtedly rich in more than one advantage. She's not wrong. She's a living example of it. So for those of you with bothersome eye issues, this may be of interest. Let's continue exploring this priceless secret.
He said when you do that in the morning, a network of capillaries is opened that equals the distance around planet Earth. Well, I can hardly get my mind around that one. So where are these capillaries? They're in your extremities. They're in your fingertips, they're in your brain, they're in your eyes, so it increases eyesight.
Everything makes a great deal of sense, and Dr. Barbara O'Neill does a beautiful job of explaining it all. It is obvious because a plethora of evidence has demonstrated the efficacy of this exercise. particularly in the battle against aging. But what could the perfect workout mix be that maximizes the body's overall efficacy while minimizing adverse effects and depressants like freckles on the skin and face from overdoing it on vigorous workouts all the time?
This evening, when I look at weight loss, I'm going to go inside the cell and show you in detail why this is such a powerful form of exercise.
Her views are remarkably original, and we will carry on with this novel concept of hers that has kept her feeling youthful and vibrant for years. She has years of experience researching the aging process in connection to exercise. We should hopefully not take this for granted because it took some time to get here.
Leviticus 17:11 states that the life of the flesh is in the blood. It moves blood. How excited was I when I found only 15 minutes. Well, let's have a look at this. If you don't have time to exercise, it's time for you to analyse what you do with your time. You actually don't have time not to.
The idea that a mere 15 minutes of exercise per day could alter your body's entire range of health for the rest of your life is obviously fantastic, and it's solely accessible with Dr. Barbara O'Neill.
If they did the HIIT training, they had an edge. So what did he do? So the high intensity, he got his girls to do that for about 20 seconds. The recovery was probably 60 seconds, and the cycle, meaning it's done for a cycle of, would be about 6. Your recovery time is your indicator of fitness. So note your recovery time, because the fitter you get, the less time you will take to recover.
This is merely a blueprint of where we're heading, but it gives us a basic idea of how it works. We can see the various segments of the high-intensity periods, recovery periods, and a defined cycle assigned to whatever high-intensity exercise the individual chooses to engage in. This doesn't seem very clear at first, but it's a thorough introduction. Is it a piece of meaningless garbage, or does it actually have as many effects and benefits as claimed? It looks effortless. Let's continue exploring to find out.
I read about the HIIT training. Probably the first book I read about it was Dr. Doug McGuff's book, Body by Science. And he's a doctor. I think he's a heart doctor. And he found out about this. So what he did was he did 30 seconds high intensity, 90 seconds recovery for a cycle of 6. And what I have found in my reading, that's probably a time that most people come at would be the very best.
This must be it. Barbara has never shied away from discussing her research or citing the work of other health experts, particularly those with an interest in age and exercise. So we know it must be credible. With only 15 minutes of exercise required, we probably have no excuse for not reaping the full benefits of regular exercise. However, this HIIT protocol is different in that it releases something in the body. And before we get to Dr. O'Neill's special and unique HIIT exercise, we'll hear about it. The stinging secret has kept her looking youthful, vibrant, and fresh.
It'd be about 6. So that's 6 cycles of 20 seconds high intensity, 60 seconds recovery. He found when it came time for the Olympic Games, they had an edge. They had an edge on the other athletes, and isn't that what it's all about? Everyone that goes to the Olympic Games is the best that their country has. And sometimes they win by split seconds. So finding something that gave his girls an edge was very important. So what is the high intensity? It's running for your life. It's going for as hard and as fast as you can, whether that be swimming, whether that be running up hills. So what's recovery time? Well, the research shows that the best recovery time is when you're moving a bit. So what I would do is I'd do my stretches. I can't do much because I'm all wired up, but I would do my stretches.
You should be getting a sense of the high intensity period and the recovery periods now, and it's a critical procedure if you want to maximize your training effectively, as Dr. O'Neill has mentioned numerous times, as well as an effective way to combat the aging process without unknowingly propagating it.
So recovery is don't overtrain. Listen, your body needs rest to grow. In fact, your muscles don't grow when you're exercising, they actually grow while you're sleeping and resting and recovering.
Framingham Heart Study. I've quoted this study a couple of times, 30,000 people, little town over many years. They found that by the age of 50, 40% of, or most people had lost 40% of their lung capacity. Why is that? Because people never do what you experience when you get to the end of your 30 seconds. Those lungs are just stretched wide open. Those little bronchioles right at the end are being forced to start working. High chest breathers can find that the bottom half of their lungs can almost go into dormancy.
It's not a coincidence. Our lungs are likely aging faster than our bodies due to the extreme stress today's generation has put them through. And many, if not most, of the exercises we perform now also contribute significantly to this.
Study showed that by the age of 80, most had lost 60% of their lung capacity.
Not only is this a statement, but it's a fact that you might never be informed about. Overstressing ourselves by not sticking to a structured exercise regimen like this recommended HIIT procedure has serious consequences. You have probably heard of people collapsing and passing away during physical activity. In these cases, the cause was a gradual denature of the lung. Let us now learn more about how to combat these conditions.
You can prevent that lung capacity loss by exercising every day. And if you've lost it, you can regain it by the high intensity exercise.
Yes, you should be able to gradually restore your lungs to their normal state by participating in these high intensity interval trainings if you are experiencing a decline in your ability to breathe, which is particularly noticeable when you experience increased exhaustion and breathlessness during milder exertion. This is just a tiny example of the benefits and perks of this exercise. This is an important concern that Dr. Barbara brought to our attention, so we shouldn't take it for granted.
One lady said, "It sounds a bit selfish to sustain me." I said, "Oh no, if I don't sustain me, I can't help anyone to sustain them."
It's all important to listen to these critical benefits, as it helps encourage us more to embark on these, knowing the lots of health benefits we are accruing over time, especially one vital hormone we would soon get to talk about, one that models all over the world pay for just to look young and good. But this HIIT exercise gives it to our system for free, and that, my dear, is the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, HIIT is my favorite workout. I've been doing it since I started training. I've been training for a while, and you do these high intensity moves, and because it's like so intense, you only have to do these workouts for like 10 to 20 to 30 minutes. So it's a short workout that you can do anywhere. It doesn't take any equipment, and you're gonna get results quicker with this type of a workout.
The more you exercise, the stronger that heart gets. And when it's strong, it doesn't have to beat much, because every beat is so strong with the delivery of blood. It is said we only have so many beats per lifetime. So you can see the fitter the person, the longer the life. So I want to show you how this high intensity exercise program, I want to show you how it affects the cell and how it can actually reverse that whole process that we looked at earlier. So I need to tell you a few things as I give the illustration. So what I didn't tell you the other day is that this 8-step pathway is very slow. The 20-step pathway is very fast.
Before digging directly, Dr. O'Neill feels compelled to explain how high-intensity interval training, HIIT exercises, help slow the aging process and build a strong physique, among other benefits.
As we're standing here at the moment, they're feeding into each other quite nicely. But when you start running for your life, cycling for your life, rebounding for your life, swimming as fast as you can, both pathways speed up. The 20-step speeds up, the 8-step speeds up, but there's a rate-setting enzyme in there that will always keep this one faster and this one slower. So what happens now is more pyruvate is being made than can be fed into the 8-step. And so the body stores that excess pyruvate as lactic acid. You've heard of lactic acid? We've all heard of lactic acid.
It may sound not very easy, and if you skipped over biology, you may not understand everything said here. But for those who do not, I apologize. It's all good stuff, and you're probably getting a gut feeling of positivity from it too.
High intensity interval training is what happens when you're in recovery, and don't we love recovery? When you're in recovery time, getting your breath back, letting your body settle down a bit, the liver converts that lactic acid back to pyruvate and feeds it into the powerhouse, which means when you're in recovery time, your cells are burning just as much fuel as when you're running for your life. Isn't that good news? That's good news, but there's other good news too, and that is it's mopping up your lactic acid.
Nothing will get your blood boiling more than this part, because in addition to giving you a breather, the recovery period acts as though you're still working out. This is the most stunning part of this HIIT workout, because in what sense would you believe that your body system would still remain in an exercise euphoria even while you are resting? That is, in your recovery state. It sounds great, and it's similar to a rebound effect.
And there's a huge bonus to high intensity interval training. The biggest bonus is that after the workout, because your heart rate is pounding, you're gonna have an after effect where you're gonna burn calories to up to an hour post-workout.
It burns all of that extra lactic acid that makes you feel drained and woozy. And the science behind it all makes perfect sense. It's not a bluff.
So let's continue. So you're getting to the end of your first 30 seconds. You're plucking your glycogen stores. You're getting to the end of your second set of 30 seconds high intensity. Your glycogen stores are being depleted, but we need more fuel. And so what the body does now, it causes a release of the human growth hormone.
You may think you aren't getting it now or at any point in this video, but don't worry. You will be infused with complete understanding by the end of it, as well as a detailed, unique exercise pattern to achieve all of these benefits. Talking about hot takes in the celebrity market these days, we heard about something called the human growth hormone, which brings to mind a specific hormone reference we made earlier. This is the most significant game changer in this exercise pattern, so let's dive right into it.
HGH is a hormone produced by the pituitary gland in the brain. It signals the liver to produce primarily two compounds, insulin-like growth factor 1 and also IGF-binding protein 3. These two compounds then travel to various cells of the body to assist in normal physiological processes.
There are claims that it's truly anti-aging, that it reduces aging, increases longevity, although there's no hard evidence to support it.
If you're a man or a woman and feel like your muscles are weaker, you're having a hard time recovering from workouts, your memory is slipping, and your body fat is increasing, you need to understand what HGH is and how hormones work. They are often prescribed to reverse many of the symptoms of cellular aging and to improve the patient's overall quality of life. HGH has been extensively studied, is FDA approved, and if prescribed properly has been shown in the medical literature to have significant health benefits.
The human growth hormone is very active when we're growing. But when we stop growing, I stopped growing at 16, that probably doesn't surprise you. My son William grew 2 inches from 19 to 22. Boys usually grow a bit longer. It goes into retirement. But when you do the high intensity exercise, it's pulled out of retirement. Let me show you what it does.
To those of you who are already familiar with it, this may seem like a ridiculous question. So, what exactly does the human growth hormone do in this case? And what is Dr. Barbara O'Neill's take on it? We're going to find out soon though. Let's just say that this secret, as Dr. O'Neill has whimpered, is enough to pull it back into our system and give us those benefits without having to pay those hefty sums. But we're not quite at that part yet. Let's take a look at its metabolic pathway, as Dr. O'Neill finds it irresistible to talk about. We can see why a lot of it is sought after in the market, because its body production reduces fairly drastically as we grow out of childhood.
What the human growth hormone does is it causes a release of hormone-sensitive lipase. Hormone-sensitive lipase is an enzyme that breaks down fat cells. It's the most amazing fuel depot in the human body. But how many people are carrying a lot of weight? They're actually starving in the land of plenty. They can't access their fuel supplies. They're always tied.
From its synthesis to the hormone-sensitive lipase process, and ultimately to the body's transformation of body fats into substantial energy stores, we essentially observe the butterfly effect. As she mentioned, the human growth hormone causes the production of hormone-sensitive lipase, which aids in the breakdown of the body's stored fat. See what we did there then? You get more fuel the more fat you consume. Therefore, fats may not be as harmful to your health as people believe. We definitely have a video about this that we highly recommend you watch.
The human growth hormone also increases the body's ability to process protein. The human growth hormone also increases the circulation of the blood to the skin. Now, the effect of this is it slows down aging. No wonder the movie stars pay $1,000 a week for this human growth hormone, because their profession is dependent on them looking good, and you can see this helps you look good. Well, I'm offering it to you cut price today.
Looking amazing. Millions of dollars are paid for that, but you can get it for free every day with this trick. Once more, this is no bluff, which is presumably why you haven't heard of this high-intensity interval training regimen in a while. Dr. Barbara's substantial time and outright involvement in this remarkable strategy is proof that the conventional exercise program can counteract the effects of aging. Such exercise regimens were described in some ancient texts from the Roman Empire, and they were beneficial during the time when people could live for a very long time.
15 minutes high-intensity interval training a day will cause a release of that human growth hormone, and that human growth hormone will remain active for 24 hours. People ask me, how often do you exercise? I say daily. Daily. Daily, because I want that human growth hormone.
We can clearly see the many advantages, and the 24-hour durability is a huge plus. So why haven't we been riding this roller coaster the entire time? With this every day, you get those human growth hormone babies that will keep your body glowing young and fresh. Yes, to beat age, you have to give it what it hates, as Dr. Barbara O'Neill always says when she talks about stopping or preventing anything. The numerous benefits are readily apparent, and its potential 24-hour durability is a significant plus. Most of your colognes do not have this level of durability. So why haven't we spent the entire time on this roller coaster? You can get those human growth hormone candies with this every day, which will keep your body looking young and vibrant. For the numerous actors and models who make their living from their appearances, it's a gem being sold as gold.
One of the most powerful, well, it is acknowledged to be the most powerful form of exercise there is. And everyone can do this one, and it's called rebounding.
This is what we've been waiting for. And if you were lost in the shuffle, now is the perfect time to catch up and maximize all the benefits we've already experienced. Surprisingly, Dr. Barbara O'Neill has recommended the ideal HIIT workout that, if done for 10 to 15 minutes a day, would give you everything you need in terms of physical and overall health. I know you're excited, so let's look at it more closely.
I've had 6 babies, and I know within a couple of days, what are they trying to do? Put their heads up.
If that is the case, we should order a ton of jumping castles since, let's face it, who wouldn't want to appear healthy and young looking? It sounds exciting, especially if you enjoy the ups and downs, but in the context of exercise, so we must be anxious and curious about what this fantastic exercise of hers is. No one, I'm sure, enjoys the down in any other situation. It's always the ups every day.
So when you're jumping on the rebounder, when you're going up, you're defying gravity and you're accelerating. But then you get to the tip and everything stops, is that right? Then you experience deceleration. And then you're coming down. And when you're coming down, you're accelerating again. And then your feet hit the mat, deceleration.
Pushing the boundaries of acceleration, deceleration, and gravity. A good deal of physics to release human growth hormones, tone those bodies, rediscover the fountain of youth, and feel healthier and more athletic all around. Have you reached your limit? It would be a shame to waste the reason you have come this far if you gave up right now. Watch as the seasoned pro shows us how it's done.
Now, why is the rebounder, or the little minute trampoline, such a powerful form of exercise? Strength comes from one activity and one activity alone, and that is defying gravity. You only have to rebound for 1 minute in the morning to get that lymphatic system activated for the whole day. And once that lymphatic system is activated, you jump with your palms down. As you jump, that strengthens the bicep muscle. Yes, you can do your triceps too, and that's where you put your palm up and you jump with your palm up, and that strengthens your tricep muscles. And often I will twist as I do it, so I twist like this, and that helps with the spine. And so when my arms get tired out there, then I will do that. But I'll often do 10 biceps, 10 triceps. Exercise that affects every single cell in the body, then rebounding.
Now that we know how the rebounder workout works, all we need to do is figure out how to do it right, which is something our brilliant doctor will show us a perfect example of. At last, the moment we've been anticipating.
How do you strengthen your eyesight? Now, I'm not doing much and I'm fairly fit, but can you see in my breath? So it doesn't seem like you're hardly doing anything, but it has a powerful effect on the body. So how do you strengthen your eyesight? So you can also just do this. Anyone can do that, where you're not even jumping, but you're having an effect. How do you strengthen your eyesight? So right now, looking out that door there, I will focus on that tree. I'll focus my eyes on the leaves of the tree, and so when I'm doing it, the tree is standing still, but the big trees in the background are jumping, and that lamp's jumping, and that lamp's jumping. So what I'll do now, after 10 jumps, I'll focus on that lamp, and I'll keep that lamp still, and the leaves that were still before are now jumping in the peripheral. Can you see what you do? In fact, this is what, if you've never done rebounding, you just start like this. And then you start like this. And it feels so good. It's not long before you're going to want to leap. You put the kids on this. What do? And now you can do so much. See how you can do this with your legs? And you can twist your body. You twist your body, then your spine is getting it. And if you want to strengthen your triceps, you jump like this with your hands out. And if you want to strengthen your biceps, you put your thumbs down. So you can see that you can do strengthening exercises. Can you see just that little bit? And I exercise every morning, so it takes quite a bit for me to get my breath up, that I have got a little bit of breath up just from doing that. Just that little bit. Albert Carter says 3 minutes, 3 times a day. That's nothing.
It sounds pretty straightforward, doesn't it? Yes, all it takes to maintain those HGH cycles is 15 minutes a day of this, plus the average amount of recovery time required after every 6 cycles. Doesn't sound too difficult, so there's no excuse, do you think?
So right now, looking out that door there, I will focus on that tree. I'll focus my eyes on the leaves of the tree, and so when I'm doing it, the tree is standing still, but the big trees in the background are jumping, and that lamp's jumping, and that lamp's jumping. So what I'll do now, after 10 jumps, I'll focus on that lamp, and I'll keep that lamp still, and the leaves that were still before are now jumping in the peripheral. Can you see what you do?
You might want to look into this more thoroughly if you're interested in improving your vision. Despite her advanced age, Dr. Barbara was still able to maintain her vision at 250 magnification, and her general ability to focus was improved. Her dynamic body, which she has developed with these HIIT workouts, high stress, short time, and improved outcomes, is extremely impressive. You won't regret a thing after watching this entire video, and you can be confident that it will completely alter your health course, particularly if you're too busy to find time to exercise. Also, make an effort to watch our videos on some undiscovered methods for treating health issues naturally, without harming your internal and external organs with continuous synthetic medication. You should also watch out for some foods that over 95% of people in the world today are unaware can seriously harm you, especially if consumed over an extended period. As always, your health is a top priority for both you and the channel.
You see, with the rebounder, there's no jarring. One lady said, well, can't I just skip? When you skip, every jump that you take, you do get a jarring effect on hips and knees and ankles.
It's about giving your body the best possible stress, regardless of the goal you're attempting to achieve with the workout session, especially in terms of anti-aging. So, what is the bottom line? Should we all rush out and try Dr. O'Neill's well-researched exercise method? Let me know in the comments below.